Welcome everybody to episode 3 of the latest. Brad, I think every week, it's like, okay, how much stuff could there be for next week? Then all this stuff just comes out, right? I think, and what I was talking about at our conference earlier this week, it's not even necessarily the new things anymore, but it's the new features
Yeah.
in some of the things we've been using now. And I know you went to an AI conference up in Toronto this week.
Yeah.
Share, yeah, to hear what things new you found there and throughout the web or the world or
Yeah.
whatever.
I'll put the pass up on the screen. There was the AI Accelerator Institute. They're in person, which, in today's world, so much happens in streaming. It was cool to be there in person. Great speakers, people from IBM, people from Paramount, people from the Globe and Mail publication, all technologists, all super smart. And I'll give you the rundown of what my summary had. So for anybody listening that likes workflows, what I did was I put my phone on the table at the conference. I used Otter and I just hit record. So then I got the summaries of each speaker through Otter, and then I compiled those into ChatGPT to talk with everybody here today. So I'll share my screen and show you that. So it was a layered process. You should see that there, the evolution of AI in business. So these are the takeaways from a full day of 30-minute and 45-minute talks with some really high-level VPs and technology officers. Their expression throughout the conference was pretty solid. It wasn't like you heard one side of one and one side of the other. It's pretty solid. What they're telling you is that Gen AI is no longer a nice to have, but it's a core driver of enterprise innovation. They were using Gartner stats and they were using McKinsey stats to back up their belief that within about 3 years, a third of all the applications that major businesses use, what you might call enterprise apps for large companies, the software you use, um, a third of them are expecting to have AI integrated within it. And they think that the shift of that software will focus on being efficient, customized, and making decisions in real time. So we're talking multimodal, which is using audio, voice transcripts, using pictures, maybe even video, as well as text inputs, fine tuning the models. And then, of course, people are talking about agents, right? This agentic workflow that you're going to have some piece of software that you're going to consider an autonomous agent and it's going to do things on its own. I want to add one more thing and then come back to you, which is the fella from Paramount, who was the technology officer there, he said that it's going to be less that we call it generative AI, which we picture as like just text from nowhere and images from nowhere. He was calling it enterprise AI. And I'll read from my screenshot on my phone that he says it focuses on efficiency and optimization. So I'm reading from his slide. He says it helps businesses run smoothly. So this is the concept of enterprise AI. Generative AI, you think, where'd it come from? What is it? Enterprise AI will help businesses by analyzing data, by making predictions. So when you make a prediction, you can still vet it and go, should I do this or not? And by automating tasks such as enterprise AI assistance, fraud detection, and supply chain optimization. So whatever is in your supply, you can optimize that. Essentially, he boils it down to saves time, cuts costs, and improves decision making.
Incredible. I think with again, automating these workflows, agentic, which is a new word that's been getting kicked around the tech industry.
Yeah.
Um, right. And every time I see a new word or acronym in the tech industry, sometimes it's like, okay, are they just putting something new on something we kind of already do? And now they're a company's forming around it, or they're trying to sell it, trying to upsell us to things. But certainly I think that agents and automating our workflows, and just like you did with the recording yesterday,
Mhm.
we haven't spoken for weeks about like the friend necklace or some of these other always listening devices. But
Yeah.
I think that's great, Brad. And I think that yeah, for our conference we just came off of, which was easier in the virtual world to then just take the transcripts and create notes. I mean, unbelievable the things you could do.
Yeah.
Me living here in a smaller town the Central Coast, and I think, where you live isn't as city like, probably more rural than city. It is just interesting. People I meet on the street, I know like people's minds get blown when you show them how these tools can affect their lives and help them with whatever they're working on, or just life in general. I
Yeah.
feel like if you say AI, are they thinking, oh, they're just tuning you out after that because they're thinking, oh, you must be a computer person or a computer science degree. So I've just been thinking about just how to approach what we're doing. So anyway, let's get into the latest. And both of us came up with one thing I wanted, and also I'll share the gamma stuff, which I thought was
Yeah.
pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
and it's really just the image database. So as you're creating these different sessions, so here's one I just done for one of our speakers that was speaking about the code of ethics. I up excuse me, exported it into PowerPoint, put their name on it. They tweaked it a little bit. All the images, um, which they do, the diversity, cognitive thought and diversity of thought is critical to witty. But I feel like if the word diversity is in there, it gets way too diverse. It's like, so I have to keep, I have to like put in prompts, put in more white people, right? Because it's all about different people and everybody. We don't
Yeah.
exclude, and it's all about the business side, not the compliance side. So anyway, that was one thing. And I did connect with Grant, who's the co-founder of Gamma, Brad. So I want to get him
Yeah.
on something that we do
Oh,
to talk
sure. Yeah.
about that. But one thing I do like is you mentioned just this new all images folder. So when they come up, as you do, and I've got, God, I must have hundreds of presentations I created. They dump all these things into a folder
Mhm.
for you now and save them all the images. And now you can go back if you like other ones. I do find recreating graphics, it's hard to do with AI. So I love that they built this repository for us. Have you used this at all, Brad?
I've used Gamma plenty.
Right.
I've been a
Right.
month-to-month subscriber, but
Yeah.
the latest iteration is brand new to me. I got the email from Gamma and I'm reading from it. They're imploring you to try out 10 of the best AI image models. So those are the softwares that you might have paid for that make images for free.
Mm,
Um, right? And they're saying that now there's 10 different ways. So these are the brand names like Nike and Reebok or Coke and Pepsi. It's Leonardo, it's Ideogram, it's Flux. So, all these softwares are new, and we can't tell in the next 6 days or 6 weeks which one's going to be the brand that sticks. But right now, those are top names. Will that be top
yeah.
name in a year? Be cool if it was.
Yep. Totally.
But I guess
Um,
for anybody that's new to these softwares, I'll say the value of those varieties is that they all have a different look and feel. Some are more photorealistic, some are more cartoonish, some are more like Pixar, some are more dreamlike, and everyone has their own artistic expression. These make it easier to do so with a couple clicks.
for sure. And I want to say too that this just came out yesterday, so I really have not, or maybe yesterday, a couple days ago, maybe. I've been buried in our conference, but what I didn't see until now, and we are on the latest, so that's very appropriate for
Yeah.
me to find it right now. It's the latest of the latest. It includes prompts to get this image, right? So that's
Hmm.
cool because I can now cut and paste this prompt, style, theme, aspect ratio, which
Yeah,
model
there's
use.
the model. That's the
Yeah,
thing. See, I haven't seen this. You're showing me the latest. What happens
right.
if you click that drop down on the model? Is there more than
Right.
one
Well,
option?
these are the different models you could use. So when you're
Right.
creating, right? So if we go back to let's create a new PowerPoint,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then we may do. and even with gamma, right? I could say create slides for the live YouTube show, the latest with Brad Rochefort and David Leighton. Where, oops. Okay, so even just a small prompt like this, and now I'm going to
Yeah.
go to continue. Now here's where I could pick the different models, right? So I'm going to make it for tech savvy individuals. It's Gen AI advancements. That's good. Maybe we'll use medium text, images. Here's where you can choose, right? The different images and change to the different models.
It looks like it tells you in the description that some of them are for people, some
Right.
of them for high quality. So it'll tell you if you don't know what they are.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
this image style I can put in, I could have pulled it for the other prompt of the image I like, and then format presentation. But let's just go with this because some people are seeing Gamma for the first time
Yeah.
and they may want to see it come to life. Now, I don't know that yellow is going to be our color, Brad,
Yeah.
but I think that what do you think? Do you want to go dark background, maybe a black and white here? Yeah, what do you think of this? Good.
Sure, let's try it. Because you can always change it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sometimes like you'll see these gradient backgrounds in the back. Those are hit or miss when you do the export into PowerPoint. Uh,
Okay.
so some people have had issues with that. I personally haven't, but maybe I don't have the designer eye, that some people do that look at these things and.
So you just told it to talk about our show. You didn't even tell it,
I
where to
didn't
find it on YouTube or anything.
exactly. Right.
Wow.
So we can certainly, a lot of times I'll throw in and create prompts for it within a Claude or a ChatGPT, but Gamma will be your LLM and create the show for you if you give it enough clues.
Yeah. So
So
because this is the latest and we're still on the topic of Gamma, the email I got from Gamma says that there's a new feature called bulk edit. So if you're a subscriber, you can bulk edit the entire document at once. For example, translate to a different language or
yeah,
adjust the tone of the entire presentation.
right.
So
So
this
with
is brand new to me. I haven't used this. I just read the email yesterday.
right. So like if I went to it and say I wanted to, so first of all, you can do the individual images, right? Please uh include
See, I keep thinking this software is like a year old or more to users, but then I also keep seeing people introduce it like it's brand new. So I think we've used this for a while, but I think 90% of people probably have never seen this. So if you've seen this before, you're in the 10% of people who've seen this.
right. No, without a doubt. And I think right, and they're so great, and people are like, and I'm teaching this to people, and they're like, what? Right? But
Yeah.
even like, I was talking the other day with Sona, right? And this is too like, so here they just put in black women. So please include white and black.
So you're saying you have to be aware that if you go diverse, it excludes people. It doesn't give everybody. It excludes some people. So you have to course correct and say, actually, I want everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I think that's really where, these things have swung, right? We can get into the diversity HR programs and everything else. But I find that once you go down these road, it's hard to get it back. It's
Mm.
like, and I think it's a shame because especially when we started witty. There was, it's just like, look, men and women, we think differently. Create a place where we can all do our thing, and then we're happier. The company wins, win-win. Then as they started these compliance-driven programs, and the company's trying to prop up to pretend, it's like there's so much value in having different perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I have to put in add white people to these is kind of ridiculous. Growing up in LA, like this stuff was like so weird to me because all my friends are everything.
Yeah, being in Toronto yesterday, the city of Toronto has the most diverse ratio of people. I think if it's not the most, it's one of the top five, but I think it's the most diverse place that there is no predominant visual person. That each person is just there, and you know, I lived there a few years. You certainly stop seeing the differences. You just start seeing people. So, like you're saying, when the app suddenly makes seven people all the same, you're like, but is that
Yeah,
the experience? Seven of any visual of anybody. You're just like, could we mix it up?
right, exactly.
Um,
And now
but
I'm going
yeah,
in
so
this hole, so now I'm just gonna say remove all people in the graphic.
yeah, there's the option to go for stock images. There's web search images and Gen AI all within Gamma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I'm concerned, like with the stock images, you need a separate license for those.
I think there's an option for royalty-free stock image.
Oh, there is. Okay,
I
good.
think it's a clickable option. Like, these tools, it feels like they're super fast, and it's like an experience that new to the software users get that they think it should take like 7 seconds, but it should still take you half an hour. Like it should still be a business exercise or a practical exercise to finish whatever project is. It's just that it'll be better and easier. I don't think that it's magic that it's a 40 seconds and your website's done. That shouldn't be the thought. The latest tools just help you stay in that state of flow where you go, ah, yes, it's all one voice. It feels good. It looks good. It was a nicer experience and probably didn't take you 7 afternoons. It took you half an afternoon.
For sure. And for the people that were experts in these areas, whether they were web designers or whether they were, graphic people, it's that extra vision they're giving and prompts. It's going to set them apart just from the prompting I did to create our, little thing here, which I do have to give it props, like our sports center desk, Brad. That could be you and I at the desk.
Hey, right?
Exactly.
Looks cool. What I like about Gamma, if we're going to finish about Gamma, is that you can turn those into websites.
Right.
And there's a whole learning curve to does it get your URL or the Gamma URL? But the point is, it is a super simple way to have a web presence within 30 minutes, let's say.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, good. Did you want to show or talk about the conference a little bit, or maybe I know it was cool how you showed me just the note taker at the conference. I mean, these things are life. I mean, these are amazing, right? And did you say you used one of those pause things, or you just recorded it on your phone with Otter on?
Yeah, because the conference was in my Google Calendar, Otter is synced with my Google Calendar. So it just popped up and said, "Do you want to start recording?" And I just clicked yes, and then it recorded.
Oh my
And then
God.
when that speaker was done, I stopped. And in the Otter app, I just clicked the button again. It said, "Do you want to record again?" And it made a new file. It was still labeled as the conference from my Google Calendar. And I just hit the button again and it made the summaries.
So you hadn't even thought about doing that till it prompted you saying, "Hey, Brad, you want to record this, right?"
I
Or
went with
maybe you wouldn't have remembered. I don't know. Like,
it's somewhere in the middle there. I went with Alan, who you saw on Monday night at the Brain Juice, and he and I talked about it on the way in. We're like, oh, we're going to take pictures, take videos. He took some videos, but I took some pictures, and then there it was, and it was just like, oh wow. What Alan was doing, which was brilliant, he took a screenshot of the slide deck that was the slide of choice while we were sitting there, he elbows me and he types into ChatGPT, make a LinkedIn post about this slide. And then he posts it while the slide's still on the screen. Like
Yeah,
it was brilliant. It was like, this is the most interesting part of the interesting talk. Why don't I post this out there into, a couple hundred words? And it was like, it was good.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Like that's being efficient with your time. It's like, I just want to let people know this is what IBM is saying, which, by the way, David, is a whole other talk. IBM seems to have some great development on all of 2025. I think you're going to be hearing about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, look, IBM with Watson, I mean, they certainly were the leaders in all of this stuff.
They rebranded Watson X.
Right. Watson X, right? Then they seem to have, I don't want to say fallen behind, but they have big enterprise customers, right? So it hasn't necessarily been the B2C thing,
Yeah.
but now, right, with the TJ Watson, there's just so much research been going on there. It's like, okay, educate the market, open AI with your billions of dollars. Now let IBM come and take it, right? I think there's some companies out there that have just been quiet, right? And they're probably just waiting for more people to understand and learn all these things. And it's going to be an exciting time for sure.
It is, and I said repeatedly that, and you've heard Ken Rakowski say this too, that so many of these ideas, you can't copyright good customer service. You can't copyright like comfortable chairs. So if someone makes the comfortable chair equivalent of a feature in some software, the bigger company's going to go, oh, you put comfortable chairs in your lobby? I'll go do the same thing. Thanks for the research. Like you can't patent, like we were nice to people. So all these great smaller softwares that, like we were just seeing, giving people the option for 10 different image generators. Someone's going to go, great, I'll try that too. You can't patent those things. You can't, that's not a business advantage that you can say is definitively yours. So I put a post about this on LinkedIn a year ago where I said that Satya Nadella coming in to save OpenAI was like the Kool-Aid man bursting through the walls. And that you were going to be drinking the Kool-Aid of Microsoft, and that the bigger companies are going to come in, burst through your smaller company, and you're going to drink the Kool-Aid. They're going to buy your company, or they're going to take your company, or they're going to clone it.
Right. Yeah. And it's, and I think with some of these things, if people use Copilot or just I'm using AI, but they haven't seen Gamma, they haven't seen Notebook,
Yeah.
right? So we're trying to get you down these lanes. And as
Mhm.
Camille said, because he had done the closing session at the conference, like, and sometimes it's overwhelming, right? You and I, we want to know about a lot of the different tools and what's out there and stretch our brains. But I think as some of the newer people are coming to AI, what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
Right. And then it's kind of think about what would really think big, think about what you think's not even possible. Then let's figure out what AI tools you could use that you could how to use for those workflows rather than, I'm going to try to understand everything because it's just not possible. That's why we have the live sessions every week, right? So that people can come in, use promo code the latest for discount code and witi.com. And your brain
Yeah.
juice session was amazing, Brad. So I think I'm gonna get there. My conference is finally over, our 30th annual summit, and now I'm looking forward to the Monday nights.
Yeah. Congrats on that. 30 years with Witty. Way to go, David.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
That's the latest. We'll
Yeah.
continue more next week.
Next week is America Thanksgiving, so we might do a day early or a day late or
I'm down for the same time. We have so many of our listeners outside the US, so
sure. I
uh,
guess we'll be there. That's fine by me.
I love it. All
All right,
right.
man. We'll talk
Have a
soon.
great rest of your week. Bye.
Thanks.